Okay, this is how I'm going to use the Tyndek progressor. That sounded right. It sounded weird though. Progressor, added a H. This is how you're going to use the Tyndek to estimate your hang load if you wanted to use a fingerboard for strength training. So I already have my Tyndek set up. I'm going to make sure that it's taired to 0 because there's a little bit of a load added. In this case, I'm using a 25 millimeter edge tension block. I'm going to pick the endurance function, and I'm going to pick new session, and I'm going to pick the duration. I'm going to have be 7 seconds. So the reason that well, let's go 6 seconds. Let's do 7. The reason that I'm doing 7 seconds is on a fingerboard, I'm not going to like pull as hard as I can or jump on the fingerboard. And so the problem with these tests is when I do a time test, the number tends to be lower than my actual force would be because the anticipation of the test, and I pull really quick, and the rate of force development is never as great as it would be my maximum strength. So if I'm going to try and use this to quantify the weight that I would do for a fingerboard, I would add a few more seconds and get my force up high and then try and sustain that force, okay? So countdown, we'll do it as, let's do it as 3 seconds before, give me enough time to reach. Left and right mode, I'll just do left then the right because left and right mode gives me a timer between and I'll want to maybe say a few words. The reason that I don't have my hips blocked is because I don't want to I want to rely more on curling my fingers into the edge and then pulling with my upper body as much as I can, which is a different intention than is just a passive dead hang. So if you walk up to a fingerboard, put your fingers on, and you just slowly lower into it, that's a much more passive and less muscular version of the fingerboard, which we want to rely on the climbing wall or when we're using an open drag position or different grips. But if I'm trying to test and strength train my fingers, I want to use the most active position that I can. So here I'm going to like kind of curl into the edge as much as I can and then lean my body into it and pull as hard as I can. And I'm someone that can do a one arm hang on a 15 mil pretty easily, but there's no way I can produce my body weight in that context. So we'll see how much I can sustain for this to estimate a 5 second hang, okay? So we'll do a 3 second countdown. 2, 1. So maximum load 140 pounds, average load 130 pounds, and once we end this we can actually see the graph. Let me save it. Let's do left 5 second. Save that one. So my force went up pretty quick. So I would say if we were going to do a hang on that, if my other arm can be the same, we're looking for average 130 pounds over that time frame. Then I could use that number and subtract my body weight and use a 25 mil for a 5 second hang, okay? Let's do the same thing on the left, see what it looks like. New session, countdown, 2, 1. That's quite hard. 131. So about the same. So I would probably take 260, subtract my body weight, which is 165. So we'll be lazy with the math and say 100 pounds on my body weight. So plus 100 pounds, I should be able to do on a 25 mil if I wanted to use a fingerboard and actively curl and stay in this actively curled position for 5 seconds of time. Okay, that's how I would use the Tyndek to try and quantify a hang load for any time point. So this could be for 5 seconds, could be for 10 seconds, could be for 7 seconds, could be for 6. Like if you have a reason to think that you want to prescribe finger strength training on a fingerboard with added weight, that's how I would calculate the amount of load that we should use instead of just adding a bunch of load on a fingerboard. This is a more precise way.